everybody. It's Jonathan Crow, Director of Community at NinjaOne, and I've got a familiar face. He was just on with us on Tuesday. Luke Whitelock, Director of Product Management. Hey,
Hello.
Luke. So thank you everybody for joining in, hopping in here. I'm sorry again for disrupting the flow of our schedule for 11.0 week. Yesterday, I think hopefully everybody saw the message before you showed up on YouTube and was like, hey, what's going on? Kite is going to be joining us. We're going to extend 11.0 week. It's that good. We're going to extend it to next week. So Kite will be joining us on Wednesday. We've rescheduled that live stream. It's going to be all diving into some key reporting updates around using data tables and some other cool stuff. So Kite's going to be joining us next Wednesday. Go ahead and your market calendars for that. But today we're going to be talking about how Stryker loves Luke and not me, and also how we have a lot of stuff that's being updated with 11.0, which as of this morning, Christmas came early. Hopefully, fingers crossed, things are not breaking for you. If they are, let us know. But 11.0 is officially with the North American instance. That means it's hit Europe, it's hit Australia, it's hit Canada, it's hit our US too, and now it's hit practically everybody, unless you're on the FedRAMP instance, in which case it'll get there. And there's lots of things for you to explore. Hopefully by this point, you've been able to check out our webinar with Jeff Hunter, that overview. We can drop a link to that. That recording's up. And we also have been taking advantage of our PM's graciousness and their willingness to provide their time to take these deep dives. And so, Luke, you are really overseeing a variety of things. And we're going to dive into a few of those today. I understand you're going to share updates that apply to ticketing, documentation, PSA.
Yep.
Maybe other things too. Yeah. So thank you again for taking the time. And let's get right to it if you want to.
Yeah, sure. I got a whole bunch of things to get through today.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to show a giant. I meant to pull up your screen.
Oh, it's gave me some kind of horrible shock there, Jonathan. Anyway, so yeah, let's dive in. So I want to start out talking about some improvements we made to PSA for 11.0. So one thing, just talking about PSA. So in the next version, we're actually going to rename the app title here to be NinjaOne Billing. Mainly to convey that PSA is actually a bundle consisting of ticketing, documentation, asset management, and billing. So it's really just more than the billing part, and we just wanted to make that a little bit clearer. So diving into PSA, one of the big things we changed in 11.0 is we've introduced a few things to facilitate not relying on QuickBooks anymore. So we've removed the requirements for QuickBooks, so you can start to use PSA no matter what accounting tool you have. You'll still need to use an accounting tool to generate things like tax and actually generate your PDFs and send invoices out. But we made it a lot easier to get the data out of PSA and use that. So starting out, the first thing we've added here is the ability to generate your own invoice numbers. So you can assign a prefix, you can assign a suffix, and you can set whatever the next number you want to generate your the next invoice number you want. So you can find like whatever system you're using, take the next number, and then just whack in either a new suffix or your existing suffix to get those. Then whenever we generate an invoice, we're going to automatically put that number. That number will sync over to QuickBooks if you're using our QuickBooks integration, or just be on the invoice if you're not. The next thing we've done to help that is we've made it a lot easier to get the data out. So now you can come into finance, you can go to invoices, find your complete ones or your pending ones. You can apply any filters you want here. You can use a date range filter, any of these to filter down to just the information you want. And then we've now got this option to export the invoices, which is going to be the table view, or the one that's really useful is the export invoices with line items, which will give you an export of every invoice with all of its line items into a CSV that you can then take and import into your accounting tool to then work with it. Next up, we've made some improvements to agreements. So today, when you generate an invoice, we put it into pending. You then have to review it, putting into approved, and then you have to either choose to complete it if you don't have a tool, or export it over to QuickBooks if you do. What we changed is the ability to now make this automatic. So you can come in here, in your billing settings, we've now added these two settings. So you can say if you want to automatically approve your invoices, so skip the pending state, and then we've got an option to automatically mark them as complete if you don't have an accounting tool, or automatically export them. So automatically send them over to QuickBooks whenever they're raised. If you want them just to be in there and process them in there. So that's some sort of change we made. We then made a bigger change to PSA, which is the introduction of included time. So this is the first part of block time. What this lets you do is in your time entry products, you can come in here and start to say how many hours you want to include. Apparently, I have a bug going on when I have rendered this. Oh, well, I'll leave that for a moment. So in here, what we've now got is in the invoice option, we can now say to include time. So we can say include a limited amount of time, so say 10 hours, and set how much you want to carry over. So you could say each period, I want to allow customers to carry over 1 hour of the time, and I want to include them 10 hours. These numbers are then every time you raise an invoice, we're going to automatically add on this time and carry over any of the unused time as well based on these limits. You can also come in here and manually edit your balance. So if you're using another system and moving over, come in here and set what their existing balance is that they purchased is. So what that then looks like, if we come back to here, go back into here, okay, it's time entry products. You'll see we've now got this included time balance. We can look at here and see everything that's happened, who's added time, who's removed time, which tickets have used it. I'll show you what that looks like on a ticket. So if we go to a ticket here, come to login entry, I can say test. So if you leave this blank, it will just use the default product you've got. But if you come in here and pick a time, it will tell you exactly how much time is currently available. So if you're working on a big call, you can start tracking your time as you're logging the call, and you can say to the customer, hey, you've only got 30 minutes of time left. This is going to take me 2 hours. It'll bill you at your out of contract rate. Do you want to buy some more time? Do you want to buy some more hours? And just let you have that conversation before you've spent the time, rather than having to go to the customer after the fact to be like, oh, sorry, you'd run out of time. You need to pay more or buy some more hours. So yeah, so if you come in and edit this, it will remove it from the agreement. We've also split out the ability to configure normal hours and out of hours now inside time entries. So you can manually override and say, oh, actually, it automatically put an hour of this out of hours, but it was our problem, so I'll just move that into normal hours, just to give you a bit more control over how you're billing things. And again, you can override at either level here what the product it's using is, or set it to be non-billable. So yeah, so that's the key improvements we've got for PSA. We've got a bunch more coming in 12.0. So we're adding in some reporting in 12. We're adding in the concept of account codes and tidying up a few more bits and pieces. So we're going to do our GA availability of PSA. It's still going to be a basic PSA in 12, but we plan to keep iterating it quickly over the next year. And yeah, so that's everything for PSA. Moving on, I want to show you some ticketing features.
And before you do, Luke, just a reminder for folks, Stryker, obviously being of the corporate internal IT variety, persuasion, I mean, he's poking fun at PSA and Stryker. Just know that recurring revenue is where it's at. That's going to be what really bumps up your valuation and all that stuff. So recurring revenue all the way, bill monthly. But then basically, to step back and remind folks, so for PSA, like you mentioned, Luke, at the very beginning, in order to get access to that, if you're looking at your NinjaOne tenant and you're like, hey, where is all this stuff? Talk to your account manager. And so these are going to be part of different bundles. There's going to be PSA, ticketing and documentation are part of a different separate bundle that you could be getting if you just want to focus on those things. And again, talking to your account manager is probably the best way to do it. Is that fair enough to say, Luke?
Yeah, so we have two bundles. We have the PSA bundle for MSPs, and then we also have a service desk bundle, which we don't advertise it, but it does include the billing module as well. And that's aimed at like enterprise and internal IT departments. We are seeing some using PSA actually for doing like cost center chargeback. So when you build different departments in your company and charge your IT services back, we've actually got some people using it for that. So it's not just MSPs are interested in it. So it's quite interesting to see that use case come up. Were there any other questions we had around PSA?
Just one other note. Going back to thank you so much for that last comment there about the 17th stream. So, okay, guys, we'll reschedule that. I'm being informed that it's conflicting with the office hours webinar. We don't want you guys to miss that. And so stay tuned. We'll update this in YouTube and also in the Discord. We'll find a better time for Kite's stream on reporting. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, Luke, I'll stop interrupting. Please,
Cool.
please go ahead.
Okay, so let's look at some ticketing add-ons. So for ticketing, one of the big things we've added this release is the ability to start automatically assigning tickets to technicians based on their role. So what that looks like, we come into here. I've set up some already. So what we can now do is say, hey, if the tag contains first line and no primary assignee is present, we can come in and now use this new auto assign ticket action. And we've got two options. We've got the longest time since the ticket last assigned, or we've got the least open tickets option. So you can either say, assign the ticket to the person from this group or this different group of roles who has the longest time since they last got a ticket assigned, or you can say, assign it to the person who's got the fewest amount of tickets that are currently open. You can also come in and just say technician and then manually build up a group of technicians from here. But yeah, what that means is you can now do things such as if you come into all tickets, I guess we'll just find a ticket which isn't assigned and make a new ticket. Make a new ticket, and what we can now do is if we assign that tag and say the ticket, it's going to automatically assign it to my first line tech engineer who I had in the system. Just means it's going to make it sure you've always got tickets assigned if you want. You've got controls around which of your technicians are getting assigned specific tickets. One other thing we've done to facilitate this is if you come into the technician settings, we've now got this option for automatically assigned tickets. So when someone's out of the office, you can come in, turn this off for them, save the changes, and that will let them either opt in or opt out of being automatically assigned to tickets. When you do toggle that for technicians, we're tracking an activity, so you can go and review all of those. So if anyone is trying to play the system and just turn it off at 5 minutes past the hour, you have all of that record and activities. If there's no technicians available, we do make a system note on the ticket as well. So you can come in, turn on the system activity, and we'll let you know this wasn't assigned to someone because we couldn't find any technicians who were allowed. And yeah, that's the core of our automatic assignment. So the next thing we've added in ticketing is, if you notice, we've now added this follow-up date and time. So this is available for everyone in the field. You can come and set this now, and you'll have access on boards, but you can now see that as well. We have that, yep. So you can see the follow-up time, you can sort by this, and you can filter on the follow-up date and time here. So you can say everything in the next coming due in the next day or the next week. This is in general availability. There's a beta as well, which if you talk to your account manager, I'm happy to enable it for anyone. But what we have is conditions built around these as well. So if we come into triggers in the time-based, and we choose to add a new one in here, what you can now do is create some triggers based off the follow-up time. So you can say at the follow-up time, an amount of minutes before the follow-up time, or amount of minutes after the follow-up time. So I could come in here and say, hey, 10 minutes before the follow-up time, I want to send an email out to say, hey, you've got a meeting coming up in 10 minutes. Or I could update the status. If it's like on hold waiting for someone to come back from holiday, I can just have the status say at the follow-up time, put it back to open. I know this person's back. I can go and have a phone call with them. What we've also added with this is the ability to do repeat notifications. So I can come in and say, hey, at follow-up time, every hour after follow-up time, and repeat every 2 hours, send an email to the primary assigned technician saying your ticket's overdue, go and get on with some work. One thing we changed with these is we've built a whole new event engine to power them. So rather than the other time-based automations where it's once every 15 minutes, it will go and check if it matches. These are down to the minute. So it should trigger always at 10 minutes before the time you've got scheduled. It's not going to be plus or minus 15 minutes. So it should be far more accurate. What else do I have? Okay, so then the other thing I've got now in 11.0 is we've introduced some new notification channels. So before we used to only support email, SMS, and Slack. With 11.0, we've added the ability to send to Teams notification channels. So you can now have messages going into a Teams channel or to a generic webhook. So you can start building integrations with other tools where you need to receive a webhook when a ticket's updated or any of the other criteria we filter by in automations. So you can now start sending out those messages to build any integrations you want or use Teams for getting your updates. Another small one we've done is on the health on your ticket boards. Up until now, status and health used to be combined together. So if you had status, you had to also have health. We've separated those now. So it means if you don't want to see the health column, you can come and remove it, just have your status column. So just should clean up some space for people who don't really make use of the health column. Make ticketing a little bit better there. And then the last thing we've added is a new activity. So before, when emails have failed to create tickets, there's not been an easy way to really see that. So we've introduced a new system activity for ticketing email rejected, which now will give you the reason why something didn't pass, like if there was an error that happened while processing it. So you can now just get all those details and be alerted on it if there are any problems there. Yeah, so that's everything we have in ticketing. We did some more. We did one last thing was we did make some more improvements. Oh, forgot about that. So we made some improvements to related items as well in tickets. Sorry, it's been a long day. So in related items and tickets, we've now got the option to create a related ticket. So you can come in here, create a sub ticket or a task on the ticket just from your main ticket, just to try and make it a little bit easier when you're trying to do multiple tasks, create appointments or things like that. You can come in here and just say, here's my relationship type, created as a child, and then just track only the core features and the required custom fields. We'll let you set it in here so you can quickly make relations. We've also added the ability now in the linking to existing tickets. This is now a bulk select, so you can add multiple children at the same time as you're creating relations. Cool. And that's everything we got for ticketing now.
All right, let's take a pause there, and I'll ask for questions. I know there are some of you in the audience here who are using ticketing actively. Any questions about what you just saw? Are these things that you've been waiting for, asking for? Any questions about how you want to use them? Things that are going to be related that you're still waiting for? Looking at you, Striker, putting your trolling company consulting aside. Very happy for the direct create as a child ticket function. Cool. Anybody else? Give you another minute here for questions specifically around ticketing before Luke dives into documentation changes. And as always, if you think about these things later, or if you're watching this when it's not live, a lot of folks come and find these things later on YouTube. Feel free to ask questions in the comments, or obligatory plug of our Discord. You can join the Discord and you can bug Luke directly there. You can also bug other amazing users who are very eager to share their knowledge and back you up, add their own opinions. All right. Well, with that, we can also have some time at the very end for some additional questions. But yeah, Luke, let's dive into documentation.
Awesome. Cool. So this release, we've done a lot around custom fields, improving those in documentation. So what we've done now is previously when you were viewing fields on a device, we'd show the value that was set at the device. So apparently I don't have any fields here. We'll have to go make one. So previously when you view a role, you could only see the fields in the UI that was set at the device. When you were working with automations, you could then see, you'd be able to get the inherited value. What we've done is we started to show the inherited value when you're looking at devices now in the UI. So what that means is, I've got it under default fields. I've got an inherited field there. So if we go back to devices, if we have a look in here at default fields, in here, I've got this set at device. So if I come and clear this out, remove the value here, what you now see is I've now got the value that's set at the organization level. So it's just going to make it a lot easier to see the values that you're expecting when you're looking at devices. We've also done this in the device search. So if you have the field on device search, we'll see the inherited values as well there. So it should just make it a little bit easier for people to work with. Next up, we've added the ability to, when you're working with tabs, previously you had to have the tab name unique across everywhere that uses tabs. So in this release, we've now made it so it only needs to be unique per device, per end user, and per organization and location. So you can now use the same tab name for the different entity types. The limitation there is you can't reuse tabs multiple places under the hierarchy in devices. So you couldn't declare it like the same tab at the top and then have it somewhere else or in different trees, but they're at least limited. You can now use the same names across the different types. Next one is we have introduced a new field type. We've actually introduced a few new field types in this release. So if we come into here, all of these fields can be used both for custom fields and in apps and services documents. So the first one we've added is a TOTP type field. So this means you can start to track your TOTP codes as a secure custom field on wherever you'd like. So before we only supported them in related items, but now you can just add a TOTP file field to anywhere you want to be able to track that and store that. Just gives a lot more flexibility. And if you want to construct like a Microsoft login to somewhere, have the TOTP code, password stored, it's still stored in the same secure field, so it's all stored securely. And we still have that protection, and you need to do MFA to see the codes as well. The next field type we've added is we've added apps and services dropdowns and apps and services multi-selects. So this is now starting to let you build up relations to apps and services documents. So it's similar to how the device relation fields work. You can come in here, you can limit it to specific organizations, and you can limit it to specific templates. And that will then let you build up links to different documents just by setting the relation when you're editing that custom field now. Works the same way as device related fields do. It just lets you start to say, hey, this is my primary domain controller or something. And then you can set in the fields and link to apps and services documents. Just letting you build up your relations and how things should link together a lot more easily than you could before. You don't just have to use related items for that now. You can now use an actual field. And then the last thing that we have is some improvements to related items. So if you go look at a device, in here, we're now showing for apps and services documents, we used to show them under a single heading. We're now splitting them out per type. So now you can see I've got my Active Directory documents, I've got my backup documents. These now have their own headings, so it's just a little bit easier to navigate around and see what's going on. Yeah, I think that's everything we had.
All right. Thank you, Luke. While we wait for any questions regarding this, Stryker did bring up a point. Might be worth mentioning that the follow-up date and time automations are behind a feature flag that your account manager has to enable. And so, yeah, go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, everyone gets the field. But yeah, the automations are in beta right now, but I'm happy to send it on for anyone. So if you reach out to your account manager, ask them to request ticketing follow-up time automations, we can get that enabled for you, and then you can use these conditions to build out any of the notifications you want.
Speaking about custom field updates, I know this is a common topic whenever we talk about custom fields. The latest ones that get added. Stryker making the point. He's gonna have to go up back to his panel and do some cleanup. Are there any things that Luke? I know your overall mission, and this kind of ties back into a question that Robert had. Is this with your all of your responsibilities and everything, and some new hires that we've made? Are you going to be coming back for 12.0 to cover?
At least 12.0. We do have a new PM who's coming to help out with documentation and ticketing, so I will be able to slack off a bit and not have to do as many things.
We'll see about that.
But yeah, I suspect you won't be able to get rid of me that easily.
Perfect. Okay, and let's talk about your vision, really, for documentation in particular. Back in your prior life as an MSP, you'd been developing scripts that help people migrate and get the most out of their documentation platforms. You came into Ninja. This is one of your big goals, was to build up the documentation, get it on a level playing field, and make it a really good option for everybody. What would you say? I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Now with 11, how far do you think you've come with that goal?
So we've got a very strong documentation platform. We've got a lot of functionality built in combined with the agent, where you can automatically use your custom fields, use apps and services templates, and update them from scripts. We've got a full API, so you can easily build integrations to document other things. We're working on some things around bringing the ability to make integrations, like bringing data from other sources into Ninja natively, so you won't have to use scripts and do things manually. We've got a few different streams of work around that, which we hope to start coming together over the next year. whereby the real goal of documentation is to start to bring in as much data as we can automatically and just populate things themselves. And then really help technicians finding documentation quickly. So we're working on things like an AI assistant, where we'll be able to find relevant documents for what you're working on when you're working on a ticket, make suggestions. We're working on a lot of our goal for the next year is to start trying to bring ticketing and documentation and asset management together. So playing a lot more nicely together. So introducing like checklists on tickets, having those knowledge-based articles pop up as you're looking at something, trying to make it a lot easier to find those relations and just get to the data you want as quick as you can. So that's really our main goals at the moment.
Excellent. Anything else you want to share before you sign off? I think for 2025.
Not right now. We've got some very cool things coming in 12.0, but I think you have to wait a little bit longer for that.
I did notice people in the Discord asking. They're like, "Great, there's 11. When's 12 coming?" And as you all have seen, we've settled into a pretty rapid and regular cadence with our releases. I would be looking for it in the next couple of months. And as a reminder for folks, 11.0, that stream or that 11.0 week will continue tomorrow. We've got Dan Myers, who's going to be joining us talking about OS deployment, which is a new capability that a lot of folks are interested in. So he'll be showing that off and answering questions. And then we'll find a new time for Kite's session about improvements to reporting, which have been long awaited and everyone's excited about. And we will find a new time and let everybody know when that's going to be. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Luke. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you, or weekend, geez. Have a wonderful rest of your day.